Northeast Florida is changing faster than most people realize. Entire districts are basically popping out of nowhere, and not just one little shopping center. I'm talking massive master plan communities, major downtown redevelopment, new infrastructure, commute patterns, and even insurance conversations over the next several years. If you're relocating here, it's really easy to make an expensive mistake, like buying in an area that's about to get way busier than you expected, overlooking neighborhoods that are quietly becoming more valuable, or waiting too long and missing the appreciation curve entirely. If you're new here, I am Amy Howell. My husband Justin and I own O.N.E Florida Group, and our team helps buyers, sellers, and relocating families make smart decisions based not just on what is on the market today, but where Northeast Florida is heading. Starting with the biggest driver of growth in the entire region, Northeast Florida's most powerful mega projects are not single buildings, they are master planned communities, the kind that function like entire towns. They're designed to support decades of growth with homes, schools, retail, dining, parks, medical, offices, trails, the whole thing. And when these communities expand, it doesn't just affect the people living inside them, it reshapes the demand and pricing in the surrounding areas too. So let's start with one everyone has heard of, Nocatee. It is one of the biggest, fastest growing master plan communities around, and it continues to expand with new neighborhoods, commercial development. And here's what's interesting. People don't just buy Nocatee for a house, they buy it for the system, the amenities, the schools, the trails, the lifestyle. I can't tell you how many relocation clients I have had who have come from higher cost states and they say, we want Florida, but we don't want to feel like we're just starting over. They want built-in community. They want a place where their kids can meet kids, where they can hop on trails, where everything is nearby. And Nocatee tends to pull those buyers hard. And that demand creates a ripple. Nearby resale neighborhoods end up competing with newer inventory tied to those amenities. And that changes how homes are priced and positioned. Now, let's talk SilverLeaf, because this one is a game changer. It is a massive community west of St. Augustine along the major growth corridors. It is notable because it has no CDD fee, which is a big deal for a lot of buyers. This is the part where out-of-state buyers go, wait, what is a CDD fee? It's a bond the developer took out to pay for the infrastructure of the community. Just text me the word CDD and I'll explain further. But truly, long-term fee structures matter, and communities like this influence where future schools, retail, and infrastructure land. SilverLeaf is such a massive community that we have created an in-depth guide just for SilverLeaf. You can grab that in the description or just text me SilverLeaf and I'll send you the link. Next up, Wildlight in Nassau County. This is one of the clearest signals that growth is accelerating north of Jacksonville, and it's designed around a village center model with homes, parks, trails, and local retail, plus anchors like YMCA and UF Health facilities. I've had families compare St. Johns County and Nassau County, and what's funny is that they'll assume Nassau is too far until they realize how easy the access is to I-95 and how much pricing can trail in St. Johns County in certain places. And that's why understanding directional growth really matters, not just where is the cutest house, but where is a region putting in the next decade of investment. And then there's E-Town, which is positioned near I-295 and 9B, basically between the major job and retail hub like St. John's Town Center and Flagler Center. This is one huge one for buyers who prioritize commute and convenience. That job-adjacent demand can help stabilize demand even during slower cycles. So zooming out, these communities bring short-term trade-offs like construction traffic and phased amenities, but in the long term, they tend to create stronger demand drivers and lifestyle premiums. If you want a clearer way to track this growth, download our buyer's guide. I break down how to think about master plan community fees like CDD versus non-CDD, how to choose locations strategically so you don't buy into the wrong situation. Let's shift from growth outward to growth inward. Downtown Jacksonville has been called the city of renderings for years, but now there's real momentum with mixed-use districts, riverfront public spaces, adaptive reuse projects, and streetscape improvements aimed at creating an actual live, work, play environment. So let's start with the Riverfront Plaza North Bank improvements. A big piece of this is the riverfront development. Projects focused on creating public gathering spaces and improving the Riverwalk experience, which adds to downtown livability and helps bring foot traffic beyond office hours. Here's the thing, when a downtown becomes more livable, you start seeing a shift in who wants to be there. Suddenly, it's not just I work downtown, it's I want to live near the parks and restaurants and Riverwalk access. And that attracts more residents, which attracts more retail, which creates more momentum. Downtown also has a major multi-block redevelopment activity like Pearl Square and Gateway Jacks, bring a significant wave of residential units and retail into the core. And that matters because residential growth drives demand for things that people always ask about, like grocery, dining, fitness services, and just normal life stuff that makes an urban core actually function. And then you've got adaptive reuse, older or underused buildings being repurposed, which adds character, rich options, and signals investment confidence. Plus, the city's streetscape and walkability efforts, like the I Dig Jacks improvements, support walkability premium over time. So most people only watch what's happening on the MLS, but downtown transformation is about place making, and that can shift where people want to live 5 years from now. If you're considering buying in Jacksonville or any of the communities we've just discussed, be sure to download our free buyer guide, which provides our step-by-step process of choosing a place to land here in Northeast Florida. Now, let's talk about the category that quietly determines where growth is even possible. In Northeast Florida, infrastructure isn't just roads and bridges, it's the foundation of growth. These projects move people and goods, support jobs, reduce congestion, and determine where development makes sense. That includes major highway improvements like I-95 and I-295 work, like the new expressway corridors and port modernization. Jacksport is actively expanding capacity and facilities to handle more cargo and large shifts, which tend to drive long-term employment in logistics, warehousing, and related services. And when job centers grow, housing demand follows. And this is where I see people underestimate Northeast Florida. They think it's just beaches and retirees, but this region has been evolving into a more connected, economically diverse market, and that part is why demand has just stayed strong. Another major shift is the evolution of lifestyle districts, places where housing, dining, retail, and employment cluster to reduce drive times and support lifestyle-focused buyers. Think areas like Town Center Energy, Durban Park Momentum, Riverside Evolution, and Beaches Town Centers, the I want to park once lifestyle. A lot of people relocating here say, I want more space, but I don't want to be in the middle of nowhere. And these districts often are the compromise. You can get that Florida lifestyle and still keep convenience. If you want an easy way to explore these areas and track what is around them, download our home search app. It is the quickest way to start narrowing down communities by location and lifestyle, so you're not just guessing from pretty photos. Now, let's talk about the projects that don't get the viral headlines but do matter a lot. Resiliency work like flood mitigation, stormwater upgrades, water and sewer expansion, power grid hardening, and conservation projects can directly affect safety, livability, and long-term neighborhood value. And yes, it can influence insurance conversations too, because buyers are increasingly paying attention to risk and storm performance and infrastructure reliability. This is the kind of insight that you only get after helping dozens of buyers move here, because these things don't show up on listing photos, but they absolutely show up in real life. Okay, so what does all this actually mean for you? If you're buying, follow momentum, not just listings. Areas tied to jobs, infrastructure, lifestyle investment often have have stronger long-term demand drivers. And buying during development can sometimes mean that you're getting in before convenience premiums fully show up. And match your tolerance to location, because some people love being close to growth and some people absolutely hate it. This is where I see people get stuck. They pick a home they love, but they didn't pick a location strategy. And then a year later, they're like, why does it take me forever to get anywhere? Or why is there construction in every direction? If you're selling, proximity matters. Homes near infrastructure or lifestyle districts should be positioned as part of Northeast Florida's future, not just another resale listing. And if you're investing, population plus jobs creates durable demand. And infrastructure tells you where long-term appreciation and rental demand tend to form. Northeast Florida is starting to function less like a collection of spread out suburbs and more like a connected regional market. And the people who understand that shift early tend to have the edge. So the big picture of Northeast Florida, it is changing fast, and these mega projects aren't isolated. They're all connected, and together they represent one of the biggest structural shifts this region has seen in decades. If you ignore these changes, it's easy to make an expensive mistake. Buy into an area that's about to get far busier, overlooking corridors that are quietly becoming more valuable, or waiting too long and missing the curve. If you're thinking about moving to Northeast Florida, relocating within the area, or you already live here and you just want to clarify how these projects could impact your neighborhood, reach out to me directly and I'll walk you through the maps, the corridors, the areas that align best with your goals so that you can make a confident decision, not a rushed one. All right, I will see you in the next video.